I have an idea to get free air conditioning in my house. I don't want to pay for central air because it's $5,000 to $10,000 to have installed, and you have to have a guy come out and charge the system. I don't want to deal with that. And I don't want to deal with the maintenance with it. I want a simpler system. So my idea is to bury 2,000 feet of PEX tubing about 6 to 8 feet underground and strictly pump water through the tubing and through a heat exchanger in the plenum of the furnace. And no freon. This is similar to a geothermal system, except there's no freon that's charged. Geothermal uses ground loops like this, and then it transfers the energy between the freon and the ground loops, the water. And I want to cut that freon out. I don't need heat with this system because I have an outdoor wood boiler that I run in the wintertime to heat my house for free with firewood. The last piece of the puzzle to set my family up for a very comfortable home, but also a very financially smart thing to do. We will save lots of money if this system works to effectively cool our house in the summertime. That means that we won't have to pay for an expensive furnace to heat in the winter. We won't have to pay for propane in the winter. And in the summertime, we won't have to pay for having central air installed and maintained, or the electric that it costs to run central air, because that's a really expensive thing. So if this system works, we basically will be able to cool our house for free in the summertime and heat our house for free in the wintertime. It's not going to be a super complicated setup. I think this system itself is going to be much more simple. I'm probably going to wire in a few relays and contactors and a little bit of automation, but I can walk you through that and show you how to do it. It's really simple, and it's still way more simple than if you were to have a central air system. It's basically just going to be a water pump, and you'll have an expansion tank, and we'll just circulate water through the ground loop. If you're curious about how this system works, stay tuned, because it could potentially, if you put it in early in life like me, it could potentially literally make you a millionaire by the time you retire, and some. Between both saving the money in propane and saving the money with cooling in the summertime, taking that extra money that you save from doing stuff like this for your family and investing it over the course of 30 years, 40 years by the time you retire, depends on how old you are when you start this, you can literally be a millionaire or even more. So let's get to it. I have 2,000-foot coils, and I'm going to cut them in half, and I'm going to have 4 parallel 500-foot loops. I think it's labeled, so I'm just going to try to figure out exactly how to get 500 feet in each loop, and then I'm going to build a little setup out here to help me loop the coils together and build this slinky or whatever the heck they call it. So stay tuned, we'll get to work.
This is a really quick setup that I did to help me get the tubing even. I'm just screwing a couple 2x4s to a couple sheets of OSB. And the trick with getting these coils set up, or slinkies as I've heard them called before, is you just kind of unravel it and lay it down on its side. The tubing kind of wants to come apart in this orientation. You just let it come apart in the way that it wants to, and then lay it down and zip tie where they cross with each other. I've noticed you can kind of do 1.5 times around, or go in thirds, or kind of a couple different patterns. Ultimately, for my setup, I'm not super worried about it because I just need to get the tubing in the hole. I'm sure you've maybe heard me talk about this before in some of my short form content. The reason why I am taking on this free AC project, because I had to tear out this retaining wall that's falling over. And I already had the hole dug, so I figured I might as well keep digging underneath the footing a little bit, and that's where I wanted to put the tubing in. After I got the wall knocked, it was an enormous amount of work to rent a concrete saw and a jackhammer and cut it up into bits that were small enough for my 66-year-old tractor to pull out. It was still a little bit of work for it to get them out, but I managed to get it taken care of without having to hire someone. The other spot that I'm putting the coils of tubing is right off the back of the house, which I realize it's not ideal that they're right off the foundation, but I'm digging out behind the back of the house anyway because there's a crack in the foundation and we get water in the basement. So I'm working on fixing that, and in order to fix that, I had to dig the dirt away, and because I already had the hole, I figured I'd put the tubing there as well. And this project is kind of a project where, because I have the holes, I'm going to put the tubing in and just see what I get out of it. It's kind of turned into something more than that, which is awesome, and I'm super excited about it because I've got some crazy ideas that I want to try in order to get the water temperature even lower than the groundwater, which I'll share in an upcoming video. Well, I have my trench completely dug, at least one of them, which will get 2 sets of tubing. One will be about a foot above the other one. This is about 6 or 7, probably closer to 7 feet down from the ground level, which runs right about here, completely running on a place to put dirt. Then also there's this big hill here. There used to be a big concrete retaining wall that ran here right to the edge of the house. Figured while I already have somewhat of a trench here, I'll just continue digging down a little bit more, kind of wrap it around up front here and put my tubing down there. I'm going to put a little bit of sand down, and then I'm going to put my tubing down. I'm going to do some more sand, and then I'm going to do tubing again. The tubing will kind of end over here, but I'm going to run the pieces up around right here, which there'll be another stone retaining wall that builds up here, so the tubing will be underneath. And then I'm going to run the tubing back alongside the back of the house. I'm going to keep digging out a little bit more up here, and then there'll be another 2 coils, loops of tubing, 500 feet each, that go up here and tie in through the wall up by there at the end of the trench, because that's where my utility room is in the furnace. So get a couple scoops of sand. The sand that I'm putting down is to protect the tubing. Now, I realize that clay or maybe a different type of soil other than sand is better at transferring heat, but I really would rather have the sand that's a little bit worse at transferring heat than have a rock or something really hard packed clay pinch or damage the tubing. Well, that's why I went with the sand. This is also screen sand, and if you talk to the gravel yard and ask for something that's maybe got a little bit of binder in it, which is a little bit of clay, that's what this stuff is. And if you grab it and pinch it in your hand, it's not like beach run super fine sand. It's like a mortar sand, and it's got a little bit of binder in it, which I think is going to make it better at transferring heat. It's not going to be as good as clay, but it's better than just beach run. After I get a couple scoops down in there, I spend some time on the shovel spreading it all out. Because of digging with the backhoe, I have a massive pile of dirt right my way, and I can't dump the sand on one end of this trench that I've dug. And I definitely have spent a lot of time on the business end of a shovel during this project. And just like that, after a couple minutes in the video, but it ended up taking a lot of work to get to this point, it's time to bring the tubing down. It's all zip tied together. It's pretty easy just to drag in. And I was just making sure that there's no rocks or anything sharp, and that the tubing is laying right in the middle of where I've got my sand. After the first bit of tubing is in there, it's time for more sand, and then it'll be time for the second layer of tubing. And I ended up putting the layers of tubing about 6 inches apart. I think ideally it would have been better to have them a little farther apart, but I couldn't dig much deeper than this. It's maybe about a 7 to 8 foot trench. Can't dig much deeper than that with my backhoe. And if I would have put the second coil farther away from the bottom coil, then I would have been getting closer to the surface, which starts to get warmer. So it's kind of a catch-22. Would you rather have them closer together and lower, or spread apart and the top one's closer to the surface? I chose to have them kind of close together but plenty deep. I left about 50 feet off the end of each one of these coils, and so I was able to run them up. They're going to end up running up, you'll see in a little bit here, they're going to end up running up the back of the house right next to the other coils. Almost done. Alright, I'll come in. After the second layer of tubing is down in this bottom trench, I ended up putting at least another 6 inches of sand on top. I think in total I went through 8 yards of sand just for around the tubing. I feel like it's important to make sure you have enough, because when you're backfilling, I dug up a lot of clay, and once that clay gets exposed to the sun, it gets rock hard, and I was just really worried that one of those big rock hard chunks of clay, or an actual big rock, because there were some big stones in here as well, was going to get pinched against the tubing, and then all the way to the soil on it would cause it to kink the line. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but that's why I went with at least 6 inches of sand on top of it. Now it's time to prep the back of the house. This trench is not quite as deep. It's maybe 5-ish feet deep. It's about 5 feet on one end and maybe 6 or 7 on the other. But when I backfill behind the house here, because I'm going to be fixing the water problem in the basement, I'm going to be backfilling with more dirt that was there. So it's going to be at least another 6 inches. Still be in that 4 to 6 foot range for depth. Get the sand down and then spend some time on the shovel spreading it all out. And then it is time for the tubing for this next section. Because the slinkies are all zip tied together, I can just drag it up and very gingerly give it a nice toss down into the trench here. It was really annoying working with this tubing that came in the coils, because I mean it's what you have to do, but there's so much memory in the tubing, especially at the middle of the tubing. It was maybe 10 inches in diameter, and so trying to work with the stiff tubing that has a radius memory of about 10 inches was really annoying. All right, we are ready for more sand. I've got my 2 coils down here, and then we're running uphill to behind the house here. And you can see right here, chest level is at the base of my house. So I got a pretty good hole going, but there'll be a stone retaining wall that comes off this broken concrete right here. This hill will end up just getting sloped down. There's a stone wall back there. I'm going to use those stones to build this wall, but that'll get tore out and just graded down smooth. But my two 500-foot coils come up out of the ground right here, and they're riding right on top of the old footing for this wall. I didn't tear that out. I'm just putting a little bit of insulation on them. I'll put a couple pieces on the top right here because these will probably be about 24, maybe 30 inches from grade, and just a little extra frost protection. I imagine when I'm all done, this system will be a, oh, I had drain tile there. This system will be a pressurized system, and it's not a ton of water, so I'll probably put glycol in it, which will help me from freezing. But I'm just trying to stay down deep enough to where I really don't have issues with freezing in the wintertime. So I'm ready for some more sand. This ended up actually being a little bit deeper now that I'm farther along in this project. I was worried about this tubing being close to the surface of the soil, and I wasn't quite sure where this wall, the stone wall, was going to go. That's why I just threw the insulation down there. It's stuff that I had, and it's just going to add a little extra frost protection. Here we go, the last 500 feet of tubing. It actually takes me a long time to go get sand because the sand is at the front of the house, and the only way for me to get back behind the house here is drive all the way up and around the house and around the garage and around the barn, and I have to go all the way around the back side of my yard because my drain field and septic tanks are right in the way. A lot of tractor time just driving back and forth with sand and material to backfill. All right, into the basement to drill the holes through the foundation. This is a Bosch hammer drill. I think they're at Menards for maybe like $230. This one actually worked really well. It was with a 7/8 bit. It maybe took a couple minutes to get through the foundation. When I started drilling, I was going perfectly horizontal, and then I picked up the back of the drill just a little bit to get a little bit of an angle down. That way, if any water wants to come in, it kind of has to run uphill through the hole in order to get in to the basement. Perfect. Right at the bottom left of my trench. So there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there'll be 4 more up above it. I was kind of worried that I was going to roach the drill bit going through this much concrete and really not giving it any breaks or time to cool down, but it worked pretty well and I was able to get all the holes drilled. All right, all 8 holes. All 8 holes are done. They go right through the foundation. Let's go take a look outside and see what they look like. Make sure they're all in the right spot. They all look pretty good. Now something I should have checked is to make sure the tubing fits. Perfect. It's gonna work out all right. You are about to see the biggest mess up of this project, and I'll talk about it in just a second here, but a little piece of advice: give yourself plenty of slack in the tubing. Don't bury it up as close to the foundation as I did, so you have more slack to get the tubing to feed through the holes. Well, I just had about the worst thing that could have happened. As I was trying to get these guys in through the holes in the foundation, I accidentally kinked one right here. It's pretty bad. There's hardly any water that's going to be getting through there, which really sucks because now I either have to decide if I want to have a fitting, some sort of fitting or a union, and splice another piece on the end of it, which I don't want to do, or I try to dig back some of the tubing and undo a zip tie and get a little more slack to push that through the hole so I don't have to have a fitting or keep that kink. But the problem is, I don't know if that's a tube. If it's one of the coils that are closer to me here, right behind me, they're ending right behind me. And so it wouldn't be that big of a deal to dig back a little bit, find it, cut a zip tie, get a little more slack. But if it's one of the ones that are down the hill, there's no way. There's no way I can get to that. So that's a real bummer. That's a real bummer. All right, thank you for checking out part 1 of this video. Make sure you follow me so that you can see the upcoming parts. I'm going to keep documenting this process and put a whole video together at the end and show all the data. I'm an engineer by trade, so I love looking at all the numbers of incoming water temperature, outgoing water temperature, incoming air, the change in temperature of the water over time, by the day, by the month, by the year. And like I mentioned earlier, I also have some outside the box ideas in order to get the temperature of the water colder than the temperature of the ground without using a heat pump. And I'm really excited about that. I think it could be something really cool. I also am going to set this thing up with a PLC and maybe an HMI and a little electrical panel with some contactors and whatnot in my basement, partly because I think it would be a cool, fun thing to do. It's kind of what I do by trade. So if that interests you at all, I will show you how to do it in the coming videos. Make sure you follow. And one last thing, check out my store because I've got some t-shirts for sale. Some of them, I think I'm just so clever. Comment on this video, let me know what you think, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.